we'll do one more clip here from Dave. We'll do this as a cage match, okay? We'll close with a quick cage match. All right. The title of this one is, let me see, Why Teachers Consistently Become Millionaires. I'm dying to see the answer to this one. Did you know that teachers consistently become millionaires? How much do you want to bet it's got something to do with his bullshit study? All right, here we go. Cage match time.
Today's question comes from Brad in Idaho. Why are teachers consistently in the group of people that become millionaires? Now, I'm going to add to this question. He's referring to the Ramsey Solutions study, the largest group of millionaires ever done, over 10,000, and they were.
First off, it's not a study, and it's not founded, and all the conclusions are crap. So we can brush that off real quick.
And I'm just going to already throw out there what my prediction is that they're going to say. At least one thing that they're going to say is they're going to talk about how teachers are process oriented and how teachers have the discipline to plan backwards with the end in mind and yada yada. They're going to talk about how process oriented teachers are in terms of their habits, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. I don't know how you prove that.
You can look confused. They're going to talk about it.
I don't know how you can prove that has any effect on anything, but okay.
In the top 5 school teachers of Network Millionaires is what he's referring to. He goes on to say, is it because they marry well and have a spouse with a better income, or is there another reason? Are there other career fields I should look into that consistently make it into the Millionaire Club? I can't wait for Dave's take on this. I'll tell you one thing that I believe is absolutely a reason that teachers are in that group is because they are missional. They care deeply about their role. We also found in that same study that 96% of net worth millionaires love their work. And in the teacher case, they're very dedicated to be instructors. They care deeply about serving kids. And they've chosen work that is meaningful to them. And thus, they've decided that what they make is enough. And they've made the choices to live on less than they make and choose a lifestyle that actually supports their work, not the other way around. And I think...
Yeah, but teachers are also leaving in droves right now. After COVID, a ton of them retired. You have teachers fleeing Florida like it's, like the 10 plagues are coming. A lot of people are quitting teaching because it doesn't pay that much.
Because the 10 plagues are coming.
Yeah. But a lot of just all around the nation, there are less and less teachers. People are quitting because there's no real future in it anymore. So he's talking about something that's historical.
Well, what he's also doing is he's also pumping his book. Because that's a part of what his platform is and what he thinks will get people to, the career paths that they want to be on, etc. So in a sideways way, he's pumping his own material, his book.
Yeah. Okay. But it's still, he's talking about something.
All right. Let's see.
It's more, historically
let's
that
see
might
what
have
Ramsey
been
has to say.
Closer. I don't know that Ramsey's even in this one, but we'll
No, I thought he was in it.
It's about deep meaning and purpose, and thus they've been disciplined, and they're very methodical, and I think that's a part that plays too. Dave, would you add to that? Does that square with you? I think that's true of any one.
You called it. No, Dave is in this one. You called that. Yeah.
Yep, and he's just going to go back in and reinforce exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
We got the data in. It was interesting to us. The top 5 career fields of the millionaires in the largest study of millionaires ever done in North America. Number 1 was engineer. Number 2 was accountant. Number 3 was teacher. Number 4 was business professional, which can mean almost anything. And number 5 was lawyer. Medical doctor didn't even make the top 5. They're number 6. And they are stereotypically worse with money than music artists. It's ridiculous. And so not all of them, but I'm saying the stereotype is there for a reason. So what we figured out is that, okay, why do these 5 land there? And even if we look at further down the list, why do some of these top, what are they having?
Well, I can tell you right now. Just to pick 2 examples. We just picked teachers and doctors, right?
Doctors are not in their top 5, so.
No, I know, but I could pick those as 2 comparatives, right?
Oh, sure, okay.
Sure. First off, when I started out, I worked with a lot of civil servants. I worked with a lot of teachers. That's what I did. Was I worked with them on their pensions and their savings and whatnot. So I used to, for God, 3 years there, I drove around from school to school to school doing that. That's what I did 4 days a week. So I know a lot of teachers. I've helped a lot of teachers retire, and a lot of them did retire close to that stat, close to $1 million or whatnot, blah, blah, blah. I can tell you the things. A lot of them were married. Not a lot of single teachers retiring at that. But the one thing that they had, and this doesn't apply anymore. This applied to the older teachers. It doesn't apply to younger teachers anymore, newer teachers, is they had a pretty awesome state pension. That was where most of their money was. So what happened is you become a teacher, right? Fairly young age, mid-20s, whatever it is, right? They do that job for 20, maybe 30 years. I think 21 years was average. But every month in the state of Oregon, I can tell you how it works here. In the state of Oregon, 6% of their paycheck went into their pension. Now, at the same time, the school, the state, had to match 6%. That 6%, that full amount, into their pension. So they got a matching there, right? It all went directly into the pension. Now, the teachers that were hired before, I think it was 97, before, back in the 20th century, right? The ones that I dealt with a lot who were retiring, if they signed up in the 90s or before, they got a deal where they could take either the variable option where it just went up and down with the market, or they could get guaranteed 8% return every year, regardless of what the market did. So what did everybody do? They took the guaranteed 8% because you'd be insane. Because it doesn't matter how bad the market gets, you get a guaranteed 8% in that account, right? So during recessions and stuff, it really screwed the state because the state didn't have the money to cover it. So the taxpayers end up having to pick it up, right? But then they also got another bonus. It was called the matching program, okay? So in a pension, right, you can do a couple things. Usually you can cash it out and just take the money and then put it in like an IRA or something and then spend it in retirement. Or you can annuitize it, which means they basically say, we assume you're going to live X amount of years. This is the total you have in there, right? So we're going to divide the total you have in there by the number of years you have left to live. And we're going to figure that's what we're going to pay you every year until you die. Well, there were two things about that. If you chose to annuitize and you were one of these people that got the older pensions, one of my clients, the older people retiring, and you chose to annuitize, they would match it dollar for dollar, whatever was in that account. So if you'd worked there for 30 years and saved $300,000 in that account, right, half that money was put in by the state, and you got your guaranteed 8%. The state would go, okay, well, we'll double that and make it $600,000 and annuitize that, and you can live on that amount of money. And the idea is a lot of these people were living on the exact same amount of money they were making when they were working in retirement, and it was guaranteed till they die. But they also screwed up on some of the other stuff. So a lot of these teachers got these awesome pensions for years from all these different states. So when they retired, they had $600,000-$700,000 in pension. You add that to their house, now their net worth is $1 million. Now they don't have that in cash, but they're getting that paid every month and it's guaranteed. That's how that happened, right? The problem is if you're a cop or something like that, you had a different pension, right? You know who got the best pensions? Judges, senators, congressmen. Why? Because they get to vote on what they get in their pension.
Right. True.
Right. None of those people are in this study, by the way.
Let's
go ahead.
Oh, once you're done, let's go on and let's hear Ramsey prove me right again too.
No, he will. Let me just finish this real quick. But that's my whole point. Is that's why they do it. Now, physician on the other side, let's say a doctor. By the time you finish school, residency, you're what, 30, in your mid-30s? Right? And you probably owe, God, $500,000 in student loans. Now, granted, you're making a lot more money than a teacher, probably 7 or 8 times what a teacher's making. But at the same time, that's all cash in hand, so it's easier to spend. As where most of a teacher's money is automatically being put into an account for them without their choice at all.
Well, then let's add to it that because I am a teacher, it's one of the things I do for a living. In addition, right, I don't have any vote at all about what automatically comes out for my pension. That is just done.
Nope. It's handled by the state.
But we also have retirement accounts that we can opt into.
Sure.
And most teachers take advantage of doing those, just like your average person does a 401k. Now, it may or may not be large amounts, but teachers opting into those as well, is already translating into those higher numbers in terms of net worth once they hit retirement, because most teachers are electing into those optional savings programs too.
No, that's wrong. And then let me tell you why. Because anymore, those pensions don't work like that. Anymore, a teacher.
I'm not talking about the pension.
No.
I'm not talking about.
I know you're talking about the 403b. I used to sell them. I know very well how it works. I'm telling you, though, the 403b has now become a necessity for teachers to having to start saving on their own because the pensions don't cover as much. As where the pensions used to cover 80, 90, 100% of your income in retirement, they now cover roughly 25 to 30, if that. And that's after you've worked 30 years. So you have to do most of the saving on your own, just like a person in a private job or a corporate job or whatever. So that's where that's gotten screwed. So this idea that these teachers, or millionaires, you're talking about the old guard. Teachers today, teachers in the last 22 years, whatever it is, 23 years in this century, don't get any of that. Why? Because the pensions were all overblown and the states can't afford them. So the teachers today are working to pay for the older teachers who are getting inflated payments. That's what's going on.
I'm going to tell you, my pension is still pretty great. Mine's, but I work for one of the largest school districts in the country, so
right.
That might be why. But
I'm telling you what happened nationwide.
But our pensions, sure, that's just not necessarily the case across the board, because teachers, even in my tier, newer teachers where I'm at, their pensions are good.
It's the case in general, which shows why his study would show that. Right? It's not a study; it's a survey, but that's why it would show that. That technically they are millionaires on paper, but that's only because the state has saved the money and invested the money for them. They didn't do it. The bulk of that money comes from the state for those older teachers. Younger teachers don't have that as much anymore. So this idea is, if you're a doctor, you've got to save your money on your own and figure it out on your own. As where here's a guy who's very anti-state, but these millionaires that he's talking about, it's because they're so disciplined and whatnot. Well, where's the discipline coming from? The state takes the money forcibly and invests it for them. That's where their discipline is coming from. That's the joke here. To sit there and go, they're just so knowledgeable and disciplined. No, they're being forced to invest into these pensions. That's how they got these huge pensions. And it doesn't apply to younger teachers anymore. But we'll carry on with him. But that was kind of my point.
I'm still going to disagree, but I'm not applying to younger teachers because I'm a younger teacher and my pensions.
I'm talking in general, not you specifically. Talking in general over many states. I don't know what it is in New York, but I know that in most of the West Coast states and the Midwest states, that happened. And they're overdrawn.
Remind me not to move to one of those states.
Yeah.
Common. And what it does disprove is that your income causes you to become a millionaire for $100,000. So it's not your income. In other words, you can't earn your way out of stupidity. So what does an engineer, an accountant, a lawyer, a business professional, teacher have in common? And I think you hit it on the head when you said method. They are systems people. They work with a set of principles, and they don't have free reign to make up their own rules.
That's the thing, though, is that of those groups, the only one group that's forcibly having their money invested and saved for them, right? And to sit there, you can't earn your way out of stupidity. But yeah, you can if you make a ton of money.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I know plenty of people that are higher earners that do things on a regular basis with their money that I might think is kind of dumb, but they earn enough to be able to get away with doing dumb things and still do fine.
Yeah.
Maybe they could do better. Maybe they made different choices, but they are out earning their own stupidity.
Yep. Buy Twitter and still be a billionaire.
Right?
All right, we'll watch
just for an example, random example.
Watch a few more minutes of this.
When you're a lawyer and you go before the judge, you have to follow exact procedures, even exact ways of addressing the court. If it pleases the court, Your Honor.
That's not true. They have procedures, but you don't have to follow. It's not like it's rigid. It's pretty flexible in court. That's why they're always negotiating.
You don't talk to humans out the gas station that way. It's a set of procedures that you use. There's a proper set of motions and you don't have a choice. You don't get to, well, I'm creative. You're, old man in the robe. You don't get to say that. Okay. You get to say, if it pleases the court, Your Honor. I mean, you don't have a choice in this. You don't have a choice when you're an engineer designing a bridge. There's basically one way. Otherwise it falls. Yep. And accountants don't say, well, this is creative. They call that embezzlement. Right, it's like, right. And so accounting is a set of generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, and the process of doing accounting. There's one process, and you submit yourself to proven principles and methods to be successful in any of those careers, and money works exactly the same way. Right. You have to submit yourself to
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where he's going with this. He's just saying that money, there's only one way to handle money?
Where he's going with this is that he is suggesting that the people that become millionaires, particularly talking about teachers in this study, will literally submit to the rules of a process and do that, and that's causing them to be rich. And then what the parallel is if you just submit to his rules and his process, you're also going to become a millionaire. So it's a sideways way of looping back to his own thing, trying to utilize his theory that teachers and other people on this list are process-oriented people who will commit to a particular process and just do that.
Right. No.
But also he's kind of insulting them all and saying none of them can think for themselves.
Yeah, you guys are idiots.
Yeah. And note all of these areas, all of these 5 groups of people are people with advanced degrees, like highly educated people, and he's basically saying that they all don't think for themselves.
Which is also funny because
I take offense to.
Well, which is also funny because here's the guy who's anti you going to college unless you can pay for it out of pocket. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to watch from this, or?
No. I'm
good. Well, that was pretty much everything for the show today.